That's better. And so the way I created this program is based on stages, and each stage represents one of the elements. So in the first stage, we're in the awakening stage. And in that stage, we're really just awakening to our own suffering. We're awakening to our duality consciousness. So whenever we experience suffering, it's because we're living in duality consciousness, ultimately, when we really get down to it. So all suffering comes from this consciousness. So that's the awakening stage. It's really just awakening to our own duality nature and to our unity being our truth and oneness being our truth. And then we move on to the awareness stage where now we know what we don't know what we don't know. So we start to be aware of like, okay, I'm creating my reality somehow energetically. Maybe we understand it through quantum science, or maybe we understand it through manifestation, or maybe we understand it through spirituality. So we're becoming aware of how we create our reality, but we haven't fully absorbed those teachings and applied them to our life yet, because we still have emotions that are unhealed. So when we move on to the acceptance stage, which was the last call we were on. That's when we start to accept the emotions that we're carrying as being the core way that our suffering manifests in the world. So when we experience suffering out here, it's because we've still got emotional suffering in here. So the acceptance stage is really in the longer version of our own transformation. The acceptance is the longest part of the process, because we really have to accept full responsibility for everything. We have to accept full responsibility for our relationship to our spouse or our ex-spouse. We have to accept responsibility for the physical pain in our body. We have to accept responsibility for our job and our clients and our prosperity or our lack of it. So the acceptance stage is the hardest stage for most people to accept, because it's really where we're taking full responsibility for our life as creators. Once we've gotten through that stage, then we move on to the alignment stage, which is where we're at now. And this is where we start to actually align our lives with our truth. So if my truth is to live healthy, but I smoke cigarettes, drink alcohol, and eat junk food all the time, then I'm not living my truth. So I'm going to continually create suffering for myself. The universe is going to cause suffering to try to remind me, hey, you're out of alignment. You're not living your truth. And so here's the suffering to remind you of that. Suffering is another form of love from the universe. There's love in the form of a hug, and there's love in the form of a spanking. They're both love, but one is meant to realign us and one is meant to reward our alignment. So when we're experiencing pleasure and bliss and happiness and life is going really smooth and really great, that's almost like the universe, not rewarding, because it's not about that, but reflecting back our alignment. On the other hand, when we stub our toe and our car breaks down and our dog goes missing and all these things start happening, that's the universe reminding us that we're out of alignment. And so when we shift ourselves back into alignment, we'll notice that things start to flow easier again and life gets easier. But that's not to say that it'll never happen again, because as we ascend to new levels, well, now we're not in alignment anymore. So where we are once in alignment here, once we start moving up to here, well, we're not in alignment anymore. So we have to readjust. So as we move through this process again and again and again and again, and we learn to surrender, or I learn to surrender to the reflections that are coming back to me, then that's the quicker I can get into alignment with my new reality, my new dimension, my new frequency, and the quicker life will stop causing suffering for me. The Buddha says life is suffering, but the end of suffering is when we reach a place where when we're experiencing suffering, we shift our focus from what we want to what we can give. We shift our focus from consumption to creation. And so suffering ultimately is a byproduct of overconsumption and undercreation. So when we're creating more than we're consuming, when we're giving more than we're receiving, then we're in an alignment and a flow that's going to allow us to keep ascending to higher levels of happiness, and it'll reduce our suffering more and more and more to the point where we're living in that flow. Now, that's not to say we'll never experience suffering. I should say, not to say that we'll never experience pain, but we won't experience suffering. And my understanding is the difference is pain is something that happens fast. You know, you hurt your hand, that's painful. Suffering is when it's chronic, when it's happening today and tomorrow and the next day. If you've got a relationship in your life that just will not work, you're in a state of chronic suffering. If you have a pain in your body that will not go away, you're in a state of chronic suffering. If you have problems with your finances that don't seem to fix themselves, you're in a state of chronic suffering. These are clear indications that something's out of alignment and that something needs to be healed, and that there's emotions that haven't been processed and released yet. So as we release the emotions, then we naturally slip into alignment and things begin to flow again. So it's not, and suffering is not to say, oh, I'm less than, or I'm not good enough, or, oh my God, I have so much work to do. We all have work to do. And suffering, again, exists at higher and higher and higher and higher levels. So suffering, the way I used to suffer 10 years ago is not the way I suffer now. My suffering now is a lot more evolved than my suffering 10 years ago. But my suffering now is related to the areas where I'm not in alignment yet. And because I'm ascending to higher levels, there's no way for me to be in alignment with those levels until I get there. So the idea is that suffering begins to disappear in our lives when we're in an unconscious habit of creating and an unconscious habit of consuming what is aligned with our truth. So again, if my truth is to eat healthy and to eat in alignment with nature, but I'm eating bacon and cheeseburgers from cows that were abused or animals that weren't taken care of properly, then I'm not living in alignment. So I'm going to create suffering in my life. On the other hand, if it feels aligned for me to eat meat that comes from humane animals and I'm eating it within moderation and I'm being grateful and giving respect to the animal, then the suffering is going to be less and less and less. And again, these are just my theories and my perspectives and my understanding. It's important for you to create your own truth and to discern what feels right for you. So we're going to do things a little differently today. We're going to do a short meditation today, but we're going to focus more on how I can serve you today. Alignment, the earth element, is all about service. So I want to be able to serve each of you to see where you're at in the program so far, what's going on in your life, what's changing. Most of you I've had a one-on-one conversation with recently. Some of you I haven't had a one-on-one conversation with recently, but we've done it before. There's nobody here in the program except for those that are catching up on the replay who I haven't had one-on-one conversations with. So this is going to be an opportunity today for you to have a conversation with me, to ask what you need, or to express what you need to express, or maybe you need support from somebody else in the group. Maybe you've got something going on in your life and you could use help with it, or maybe you could use an introduction or a connection. Earth element is about service, but it's also about asking, because it's about humility. It's about getting down to the earth. It's when we're down on our hands and knees and our forehead's on the ground, but our heart is higher than our head. That's when we're living in alignment with our truth. It's when our head is below our heart. So when we're really down and being humble and surrendering to our, I don't know if you heard that, but that was thunder. We're shaking the walls here. So another announcement I'll make, some of you have already seen it. I've been working with a coach lately who's getting me really clear about who I really enjoy serving most. And what I've recognized is I really enjoy helping men feel more powerful, trust themselves, align with their mission and their purpose, trust their own pace, and let go of their past and really start to become the hero of their own story. So I've got a mastermind program starting next month for men called the Shamanic Warrior. It's a 6-month mastermind. Some people will stay longer, some people will stay shorter. It's called the Shamanic Warrior. It's similar to what we've been doing here, except it's 3-hour calls every 2 weeks. There are other exercises, including coaching, that's going to help men really get connected to, first of all, trusting their intuition, trusting their gut instincts, learning to flow at their own pace, being okay with the pace they're going at, trusting that they can get all of their dreams achieved, even though they're not going as fast as they possibly can. And it's really about helping men feel more powerful. I believe that there are 2 types of leaders in the world, females and males, and we have our own ways of leading. I'm not an expert at the female leadership. Julie is getting pretty great at that. So she's going to handle a lot of the women's side in that regard. But this program is specifically for men. I'm still coaching women one-on-one, but this program is just for men. So I'll send you all a link. You can check it out. If you know anyone who could benefit from it, you can just pass it on to them. I'm accepting 5 people to start, but the total is going to be 25 once we get rolling. Okay, so that's it for announcements. We are in our second last call. So this is the opportunity for you, again, to ask for what you need. If there's suffering in your life and there's an opportunity here for us to go deep with it, now's the chance to ask for it. If you're okay with sitting back and just listening, that's okay too. No pressure to step up, but just remember, I'm here for you and the rest of the group is here for you as well. So if there's an opportunity to speak or to express or to ask for something, now is your chance. So the way we're going to do things today is we're going to do a very short meditation. It's raining pretty hard right now and there's thunder and lightning. That doesn't mean anything, but again, that sometimes it just flickers. The power just flickers and it takes about 10 minutes for the internet to come back on. So I don't want to get deep into a meditation today in case that shifts things. I think it would make more sense for us to get right into coaching. So for now, let's set some intentions though. So I'm just going to invite everyone to just close their eyes. Just take a couple of really deep breaths. We've been through a journey here these last few weeks, this last month or so. Actually, it's been 2 months now. We've been through quite a journey together. We've all been on our own pilgrimages, our own versions of transformation and elevation and evolution. So let's first just take some deep breaths, fill up as much as you can, fill your belly, fill your chest, relax your shoulders, relax your face, relax your body. And just let go of whatever you're bringing into the conversation today. And let's just take a moment and think back to our first call together. Think back to how much has changed in your life since that first call. Become aware of the transformation, the evolution that you've been through since that first call. Our first call was on June 1st. It's now July 13th. Oh, I'm sorry, actually, our first call was May 18th, even further back than that. Now it's July 13th. So it's been almost 2 months. What has changed in your life in those 2 months? How have you evolved? How have you transformed? How have you become someone maybe closer to who you know yourself to be? And I encourage you to generate some compassion and some recognition and some acknowledgement for yourself for how far you've come. Just feel that in your heart. Maybe you bring a smile to your face, just celebrate how far you've come. Maybe you've had some really big shifts. Maybe it's been some small ones. But like the butterfly effect, even those small shifts can lead to massive transformations in the long run. When we started this program, I was in Canada. Now I'm in Costa Rica. When we started this program, you were somewhere in your life. You were someone else than who you are now. So let's imagine then who you might be in 2 months from now, how your life might change, what might evolve, what might transform. If you've been able to come this far in the last 2 months, how far can you go in the next 2 months? Now let's expand a little more and 10x that. Let's go 10 times 2 months. Let's go 2 years. Well, that's not actually 10 times, but it's close to it. Let's think 2 years from now. A little more than 10 times. How far do you imagine yourself being in 2 years from now? Who will you become? How will you take what you've learned in this program and in your life to inspire and to encourage others to do this work on themselves? How will your work become your contribution to the world? How will your efforts become your gift to the world? Now let's go further again and think 20 years from now. How will your transformation manifest in your life 20 years from now? Where will you be? How will you show up in the world? How will you share your gifts and your transformation with others? Now, holding that energy of 2 years or 20 years from now, let's come back to the present moment. And I'm going to ask you a question and just sit with the answer until it becomes crystal clear. And when it does, I'd like you to open your eyes and type it in the chat window. What can we transform in your life today to help you get to that 20-year vision? What would you ask for today if we could create a miracle in this conversation? Una said, live an authentic life. Thank you, Una. So my next question is, how is that showing up in your life in terms of inauthenticity? What would have to change in order for you to live an authentic life? How is that showing up in your life now and showing you that there's an opportunity to live a more authentic life? Annalise said, looking for my soulmate to share myself with and feel like I could fully open up to. Great, thank you, Annalise. That's a big intention to share. So I want to acknowledge you for sharing that with the rest of the group. We haven't spoken about that in a group setting like this yet. So we're all holding that intention with you and for you. So thank you for sharing that. So I guess, Annalise, my question then is what needs to transform, do you think? What needs to transform, or what do you need to allow in to create that for yourself? So don't answer me just yet. We'll just think about it, and you can put it in the chat, and then I'll come around and have a chat with you shortly. And we can see where we go with it. Thomas said, I want to fully step into my creative power and take full responsibility of, and trust that I am the creator of my experiences and live a life of abundance to help and inspire others. Thanks, Thomas. Thanks for saying that. So the thing that pops out for me, for you to kind of meditate on now is, what does it mean to take full responsibility? So in other words, where in your life are you maybe not taking full responsibility right now? Maybe just think about that, and maybe you can expand on that if it comes to you. Anthony said, a clear understanding and vision of how my creations will help others to suffer less and create the life of their dreams. Cool. Thanks, Andy. I love how specific you are with that. Una said, wake up to the truth of who I really am. Great. Thanks, Una. And Tony said, unlimited doors open for service to others of opportunities. Yeah, great. I love that. Sophie said, define the key to heal my physical pain and injury I've been carrying for 1.5 years. And the key to create the energy and momentum to grow my meditation community to the next level, reach 100 students. Okay. It's interesting. My intuition is telling me those two insights, those two intentions are related somehow, huh? There might be some kind of, yeah, there's something there, something connected there. So we'll get to that. Luke said, continue to receive messages and guidance to eliminate blocked energy to heal fully. Continually reinforce connection and relationships with the spirit world to encourage, inspire, and provide support for others to heal. Cool, Luke. Thank you for sharing that. I started to read your email, but then the call came up, so I didn't finish it yet. So I'll get to it after this call. I appreciate what I've read so far, Luke. Thank you. Cool. Okay, so I've got everyone. So we're going to dive right in today. And again, I'm trusting that if I have to leave, it's what's necessary, but if not, it'll be the way we need to go. So who would like to play first? We're going to dive right into coaching. I'm going to see how much I can serve you in the next hour and a half. And we'll try to get to everyone if everyone wants to play, but no pressure. You don't have to if you don't want to. So just show me by hand. If you raise your hand, yeah, Sophie's ready to jump in right away. So we'll start with Sophie. So go ahead, Sophie. You can. Hey, Sophie.
Hi.
Hi. Yes. Not a surprise. The most skilled martial artist in the group puts her hands up first. Great. Okay. I love it. So I heard you about the injury you've been carrying for 1.5 years, and then the key to create energy to grow your meditation community to reach the next level. So if we started with one, which one would you choose?
The first one.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about what happened and what's been going on.
Yeah, it started during lockdown. So I increased my practice, my home practice, to just work out a lot, but also have a seated position for several hours. So that's when I started to have this injury. It's in my like the hip area. It's on the left side, so it's next to the leg, like the insertion hip leg. So I first wasn't paying attention much, but then it started to limit myself. So I was doing I was also teaching yoga, and I had to actually shift my teaching classes because I couldn't follow the exercise anymore. So I started to introduce more qigong and tai chi exercise, like breathing exercise, because I couldn't do the stretching anymore. Then I was working with a physiotherapist for a couple of months, but he derived me to an internal, like a pelvic floor physiotherapist. So that helped me because it was more internal. And then it felt like it was healed in like December. And now with the pregnancy, it came back. So now I'm in month 7, and it came back like about 2 months ago. And it becomes like worse every day. And I feel it's just it's sort of like what you said, like the universe creating this suffering to see that I'm misaligned. So I'm not listening to my body, and it's this misalignment of my mind wanting to do things and my body needing other things. So I'm trying to be more aware of that part, the taking care and creating space and going at my own pace, but it's not improving. It's going worse, even though I'm taking measures. So because when you said that in the acceptance stage, I felt very connected in the acceptance stage on also the past 2 months, like the shifts that have been going on in my life, and that we should accept the responsibilities of physical pain that like popped into my mind of, because sometimes I feel like, oh no, it doesn't have anything to do with me. It's just like because the belly is growing and it's something internal that is there, but it's, if it wouldn't be for the belly, it would be okay. So, but I want to face it and see if there's something there, like an unprocessed pain. Yeah, that would be a miracle to at least to be able to get the key to the healing part of it, to be able to release the unprocessed pain.
All right, I'm just going to share what I heard you say, okay, and then we'll kind of go in. So it started around lockdown. It's in your hip. It's in the left side, and you felt like it was healed in December, but then it started to come back at month 5. You're now in month 7, so it started to come back a couple months ago. Probably sounds like around the same time we started this program almost. And it's like your mind's wanting to do things, but your body's kind of resisting it. It sounds like. Yeah. So what does the left side of the body represent?
The feminine.
Yeah. Yeah. So what can we gather from that before we go further? Well, what is the left side? If we've got pain on the left side, what's the body telling us?
That's the part that I have more difficulties to embrace.
Yeah, and then once the pregnancy started, now the pain sort of started to come back. And pregnancy is very feminine. It's about as feminine as it gets. And it's on the left side, it's in the hip. What does pain in the hips represent?
Well, usually it's connected to the emotional body, emotional pain.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing is it's on the left side and it's around the hips, and hips sometimes, from my understanding, can represent like work and money stress, and the hips are kind of like the core of the body. So everything kind of comes from the hips. The bottom of the body kind of meets the hips, and the top of the body kind of meets at the hips. And it's kind of like the superhighway to the body. So we store a lot of our tension, our stress in our hips, particularly around money and finances and things like this. And on the left side, like you said, is really to do with the feminine. And you said the mind wants to do things, but the body resists. So if you had to give the mind a gender, masculine or feminine, what would you give the mind?
Masculine.
And if you gave the body a gender, masculine or feminine, what would you give it?
Feminine.
Yeah. So the masculine part of you is trying to do things, but the feminine part of you is saying, no, it's time to slow down. Now that's been something you and I have talked about before, slowing down more. And lockdown, it sounds like when lockdown happened, it's like for most of us, it was like, oh shit, we don't know where this is going to go. We don't know where it's going to lead. We don't know what's going to happen. We need to prepare. We need to be ready. We need to keep working. We need to keep doing. I don't know if that was your experience, but that was my experience. I know that a lot of my clients, it was their experience too. So I wonder if it started during lockdown. If you had to guess why the left part of your body would be trying to give you a message at the beginning of lockdown, what do you think the message was that it was trying to give you?
Yeah, that I don't need to be afraid. I can trust my intuition. I don't need to go crazy and be afraid that I will lose maybe it's the existential things like money or shelter. So that part, because I have enough resources to be able to sustain myself.
Yeah. I performed a ceremony the other day, and in the ceremony, the message I got was that men create with their mind, women create with their womb. And so what are you doing right now to create this baby? Like, what are you doing with your mind to create this baby right now?
well, the mind doesn't have that much to do in the process.
Yeah. Yeah. So women are in history, women were shamans and healers, for most of our history. And I don't know, there are lots of reasons why, but I think one of the reasons is because women don't have to try so hard to create. Women just have to allow to create. Men have to allow as well, but we're less naturally inclined to allow. We're more like thinkers, doers, focusing, using our mind to create. And our challenge is to allow. Women, on the other hand, their challenge a lot of times is to masculine it. You don't have that challenge because of all your martial arts training and all the things you've been through. You're almost on the opposite end of the spectrum a little bit. You're really good at doing. Allowing is more your challenge. But with women create from the womb, and the womb doesn't really, you don't have to tell your womb to work. Men, we create with our mind. We have to think sometimes. We have to plan. We have to analyze. We have to strategize. And that's how, even to get a woman, we have to do that. Even to get a woman pregnant, a lot of times a man has to manipulate and strategize and analyze, and we have to do all these things, and we have to work so hard for it. But a woman, there's not as much work involved to make it happen intellectually. It's more of an allowing thing. You get pregnant by allowing. You create the baby by just allowing the environment to create the baby. So it's almost like this, it's like, it sounds like, and this is just my intuition, but it sounds like your body's sort of telling you, you don't have to try so hard. And maybe the trying hard is the root of the challenges. And that to create for you it's not like martial arts where you have to win a competition, but even the best martial artists don't work that hard, do they? In a fight, right? A really great martial artist doesn't work that hard in a fight. They work real hard in the gym and in the dojo, but in a fight, they're patient and they just wait and they allow. And then when the opportunity comes, then they strike and then they finish. Real aggressive fighters do well up to a certain point in their career, but then they start to break down because they can't keep that pace up. The best martial artists are the ones that are very counter strikers and very analytical and very calculating. And they sort of wait for the opportunity to present itself. Like what Bruce Lee said, be like water. And water is a feminine element. Water is the acceptance stage. So based on all of that, what's kind of coming to you in terms of what could be going on with your hip?
Definitely the allowing part. I think it has to do with trusting, and similar as what happened during lockdown, like this message of being able to trust in my intuition, my instincts, and my skills. Because I still work at the same amount as I was doing before. So I'm not allowing myself to also reduce the rhythm. And I even sometimes think about going on another program or doing another yoga teacher training, or so this tendency to overload myself with stuff. So one of the things is the allowing, but also the other is the not having to try so hard. It's connected to the second objective, like it feels I'm like trying super hard. It doesn't feel playful, the trying to grow the community. It's because I want to do it with my mind, like I want to bring the things to life, and it feels like I'm in this hamster wheel and trying to like run harder, and it feels I'm almost using, like I want to use my physical strength, and it's exhausting.
Yeah. What if you tried to grow your meditation community like you're trying to grow the baby? How would you apply the same principles to growing your meditation community?
Just taking care of myself, taking care of the existing students, dedicating more time to them and listening, going deeper, not so, instead of trying to reach more new people, trying to go deeper with the ones that I have and trying to understand them, their needs.
Yeah, I love that. I once heard the phrase, don't go wider, go deeper. go deeper first, and then wider will naturally happen. If you take these clients, you give them, like you said, you listen, you pay attention to them, you give them you nurture them. And then if you ask them, hey, do you have a friend that would like to experience this community? They're probably more likely to invite somebody if they're experiencing more depth, more connection, more attention, more time. And that's not something you have to try to do. It's something that you already have the resources to do. How many in your group right now?
About 20.
Okay. So, and you want to reach 100. So how could you leverage your current group to get yourself to 100 members?
Well, ask everybody to connect me to 5 people.
Yeah. And why should they do that for you?
Because they give me good feedback about what it brings them. So it's the value it brings to them. It's not something they would do for money, but out of being convinced about the benefits of the practice.
Yeah, so they're not really doing it for you, are they? If they're connected to the benefits of the practice and the community, because it sounds like it's not just about the practice, it's also about the community, then they're really bringing friends in for themselves more than for you. Like who doesn't love, like they say that the average personal training exercise class or martial arts class, and you know it yourself, Sophie, people that bring a friend tend to stay longer than people that go by themselves. Right? They tend to be a little more dedicated, a little more motivated, a little more, and at least until they get comfortable. And then if their friend leaves, it's fine once they're there. But sometimes people are more likely to come for their first time or stay through the beginning resistance if they have a friend.
Yeah.
It sounds like the physical pain could be a manifestation of an imbalance between the masculine and the feminine. And now that you're like really your feminine hormones, your feminine lifestyle, your feminine, that's really becoming more prominent in your life. And if the masculine is still fighting the feminine right now, it almost sounds like it's a manifestation a little bit of the trying too hard. Because really, magicians don't try that hard. Magicians create a powerful intention, and then they just live in alignment and flow. Because when we try too hard, we restrict the flow. Think about your blood. If you really tense your muscles up, the blood doesn't actually flow as well through the body. That's why every martial artist needs to be loose and light and relaxed. We tense when we need to, but not until we need to. There's a time to create tension and resistance, and there's a time to flow.
Yeah.
So in terms of the physical pain, what can you do or not do to start creating space for that pain to teach you what it needs to teach you and then leave?
I know it comes if I'm in a seated position. So if I work too much. So yeah, I've been wanting to say no to projects and to clients, and it's a challenge.
Yeah.
There were 2 clients that were supposed to end the relationships, and one decided to continue. And first I was relieved, but then I felt like, oh shit, actually I wanted to have more time. So it was almost like, again, this challenge, because I have to actively say no, and that's really hard.
It's such a different problem than when we started, huh? Do you remember?
Yes.
Do you remember before you even had this marketing agency, when you were still in Japan, and we were talking about this dream, and the hard part then was asking and getting people to say yes, and now the challenge is you saying no. You're at the next level now.
Yeah, and there's another project that came in just this week, which again, I mean, I could delegate. So,
Yeah.
but it's, yeah, I think it's also the not wanting to, like the mind doesn't want to slow down because
Yeah.
it feels good. It's like this drug
Mhm.
that keeps me functional. It gives me a lot of benefits. It's almost like my identity, like this
Mm.
doer identity of being successful and having clients. And it's a little bit like allowing, it's very much connected to fear, like allowing not to do as much, to let go, the letting go of control, letting go of the financial income, letting go of being needed in projects, or being like the project manager. So there are like a lot of things that hold me back from not like saying, okay, I mean, I would work until the last day before giving birth. And a lot of people, like a lot of women, tell me, well, what they would do differently is to at least 1 week before or 2 weeks before just like stop. So, and for me, it's like, no, I don't want to do that. Well, I on the one hand side, yes, because I know it's my body is telling me something, but I'm like ignoring it. So that's sort of the challenge for me now.
I remember when before we were talking about becoming a master meditation teacher, and what we recognized was that the only thing you were missing was just recognizing your own mastery. It wasn't really something you had to do, it was something you had to recognize. And when it comes to manifesting and creating the life that we want, it's like in the beginning, we have to go from doing nothing out of fear, because most people do nothing because they're afraid to ask for what they want. They're afraid to put themselves out there. They're afraid to market themselves, right? So then we have to get action. We have to encourage the person to start taking action, taking action, taking action. And then they reach their like brown belt, right? But then the black belt level is kind of the opposite of everything they've done up till black. You know, they're white, they're yellow, they're orange, they're green, they're blue, they're brown. It's all about action. It's all about action, action, action. But then the black belt is the opposite. Because the black belt, you're at the level where your action comes from your intention now, not from your doing, but from your trusting, right? So true mastery requires a very light touch. The master in the Tao, it says, the sage does nothing, but nothing is left undone. Because the sage just intends and things happen. Right? The student intends and follows up with action and action and action and momentum and momentum and momentum. But the sage has already created that momentum in their lives. Their momentum comes from their willpower. It comes from their intention. It comes from their trust and their knowingness and their ability to smell the roses and know that the thing's going to happen. And one of the things you said was about it being connected to fear, and the master knows how to use that fear as fuel to relax even more. And you said a financial income, and the image I had was, if you could only serve one person. How many clients do you have right now, Sophie?
5.
Okay, so if you could only serve one person, but you wanted to make just as much money as you're making from 6 people, what would you have to do?
Ask more.
You'd have to multiply your income by 5 or 6. Yeah. So I mean, remember, limitation creates value. So my coach once said, if you propose to someone and you don't want to work with them, think about how much money you would charge them to work with them and propose that much. So if it's 10K and that I usually charge and I really don't want to work with them, or I think it's going to be a lot of work, the question is there an amount that they could pay that would make you want to work with them? Well, 50K. Okay, we'll propose that to them. That way, if they say yes, great. And if they say no, great. And when it comes to old clients or clients that want to keep going, your time now is more valuable than it's ever been, because you're becoming a mother and you're in your pregnancy and you're great at what you do. And you could delegate, you're right, that is an opportunity. There's also an opportunity to charge more and to level up and to ask yourself, okay, well, how much do I want to make and how much time do I want to have? Because at a certain point, financial freedom is no longer the goal. I know that Anthony knows about that because he and I have talked about it before. It's not always about financial freedom after a while. Then it's eventually about time freedom. And it's about loving what we do. Because if we're spending an hour a day doing, working and 45 minutes of that we don't really love, or if we're spending 9 hours a day working and 8 hours of that we don't really love it, then we don't have time freedom, we don't really have the emotional freedom, and we don't have financial freedom. So as a master, we want to have all of those things. As a master, we want to have enough money, we want to have enough time, and we want to really love everything we do. So this almost sounds like in a lot of ways you're reaching these new levels of mastery in terms of your body. Because again, when your body's causing pain, it's like my habit in the past is to get frustrated at my body. Fuck, it's fucking back pain, red pain, whatever. That's inner child trying to get my attention. The child saying, excuse me, I'm not having fun. I don't like this. I'm working too much. I want to relax. I want to play. I want to just have time to do nothing. And you're not listening. So I'm going to put a needle in your back, or I'm going to put a needle in your hip, or I'm going to put a burn in your neck. I'm going to start getting the attention every way I can. If you don't start listening, I'm going to get attention other ways. And then that attention becomes more and more and more until you know how it happens. It becomes disease, it becomes sickness, it becomes illness, it becomes chronic pain. And it's always the inner child trying to give us a message, trying to get our attention. So you're not letting me play enough. You're not letting me relax enough. And the master, if you ever, I know you've met shamans, master shamans, like they look like little kids, don't they? So smiley, they're so happy, they're so light, and a loose nose, like on hell. They're all smiley, they're like little kids in these 70-year-old or 50-year-old or 40-year-old men's bodies. Because what they've done is they've just stripped away the need to do and replaced it with the need to be. And it's not a need, it's just something that they are. They're just being. And everything seems to work out, everything seems to happen in flow.
Yeah.
So in terms of actual takeaway, I mean, with the physical, I know you've got that controlled. I think you already knew the answer before you came to the call, but you just needed to reflect it back maybe a little bit. But in terms of the meditation community, same thing. I think there's an easier way. I mean, it took a lot of work to get to 20, but to get to 100, it doesn't need to take work. It can actually be effortless and playful and fun. So what's something you can do in the next 2 weeks to maybe try to triple your numbers? What's something you could do?
Well, I could offer a free coaching session for each of the students, and then in the conversation ask them at the end if they can introduce me to 5 more people.
Okay. I love that idea, except I want to take more things off your plate. So I love the idea of you coaching 20 people, but if it was Tony or Anthony or Thomas, I'd say, yeah, let's do it. That sounds great. Let's get you as many clients as we can. But we're trying to take things off your plate. So I love the idea of you saying, connect me to your 5 friends. Now, when I talked to you about this program, Sophie, and when I talked to Tony about it, Tony was so pumped up because what I believed, he believes, and he invited Anthony to the program. And so I know that your students are in your program because they really believe in what you believe. Right? They believe in meditation, they believe in community, and they believe in the benefits of what you're doing. So I wonder if there's a way for you to, instead of trying to give them more of your time, if you could just share a connection with them that helps them understand why you're doing this, and then tell them why you want more people. It's not just about money for you. It's not just about your ego. It's because you really love what you're doing. I know that you do, because you've been doing it since as long as I've known you. You've been dreaming about this community for a long time. You've been dreaming about creating this for a long time. People love to support other people's dreams if they believe in the same thing. So I love the idea of you coaching them. And if you could get all 20 of them in a group like this and coach them in 2 hours, I support that, because that's not going to take a lot of your time. The idea of giving each of them a one-on-one session, in regular circumstances, I'd say, yeah, do that. But we want to take things off your plate. So what could you do to minimize how much time you're spending with them, but also make sure you're maximizing your impact?
Yeah, no, I get that. It also feels um, it feels more aligned not to have those 20-day coaching sessions. So um, yeah, maybe either recording a video or a blog post
Yeah.
about my vision of what I want to create
Mhm.
with this community. And I mean, some people already know it. I have two instructors who are helping me, and but yeah, just to become clear on the why, and share that and be humble and be vulnerable, and just yeah, share like my project with them, because some don't, I mean, yeah, maybe some even aren't aware that I want to create this community to 100 people or more.
Yeah.
So hmm.
Yeah. What's the one tool a martial art can use without doing anything to win their fight? Without using any physical movement or strength, or without practicing physically, what's the thing a martial artist can do to ensure that they're going to perform the best that they can perform?
The mind, the meditation.
Yeah, visualize, right? Visualize.
Hmm.
Do you visualize yourself having 100 people in this community?
It feels far away.
Yeah. Good. That's good though. That's the resistance,
Mm,
right? That's normal.
mm,
So I bet if I was trying to create a community and it was really important to me, I might spend 5 minutes a day just visualizing that for like a week.
mm,
Just set the timer for 5 minutes. And when I meet that resistance, when my mind tries to say I'm so far away, my mind tries to take, just keep coming back, keep coming back, keep coming back. Feel the feeling of having those 100 people.
mm,
Feel the feeling of why you want to do this, the real emotions behind it. Because remember, this community was a dream. I remember when it was a dream, and
mm.
you didn't have anyone in it. And now you've got, you say 20 or 28? Did you say 20?
20.
20, yes. Now you've got 20 people, so that's a 20 times the amount of people you had in the beginning, when you had your first person, so which was you. So now you've got 20 times more people, and now you only need 5 times that.
Mm,
You've already gone 20 times what you had. Now you only need to go 5 times. So you're actually, it's less work to get to 100 than it was to get to 20.
mm,
Because before you didn't have anyone to leverage. You didn't even have a single person to leverage. Now you've got 20 people to leverage. So it should be less effort to get to 100 than it was to get to 20 if you do it the easy way, right? Leverage the people you have. Like you say, create a video that everyone can watch and share with everyone, rather than having 20 conversations and then another 60 conversations or 80 conversations to get to 100.
mm.
Yeah. So when could you create that video and or blog post? I like the idea of both, because the cool thing about a video is you can embed it into a blog post. So you can do the video and you can do a short write-up around the video, and then that could be what you share with people. How long would it take you to create a video and a blog post?
Mm. A week, 1 week.
Okay, so let's say 2 weeks then, to give
Mm.
you lots of space until our next call, and then that's it. That's all you need to do. And in terms of physical pain, the book The Great Pain Deception started teaching me, that when I talk to that pain and start asking it, like, what are you here to teach me? What are you trying to tell me right now? What are you trying to show me? Like I'm talking to a little kid. Okay, what's going on? What are you needing right now? What are you trying to tell me? When I'm in meditation, and if the back pain hurts and I'm in meditation, that's a good opportunity to start asking it and just sitting with the pain.
Mm.
You think about a little kid. When a little kid is in pain, we don't have to, those of you parents on the call, you don't have to do much when a kid's in pain. You really just have to be there for them. You just have to be with them. And so likewise, when we have this pain in our body, we really just have to be with it. What we usually try to do, or what I usually try to do, is ignore it or change it or manipulate it. But imagine if you did that with a kid, ignoring it, changing it, trying to manipulate it. None of that stuff will work. But if I just be with the pain and allow myself to feel it and listen to it, then the pain will start to work itself out. And likewise, the kid can figure out their own problems if we just give them space to be heard. So that's my other challenge, is to be with the pain. because it started at lockdown, right? It's on the left side. It started as activity kind of ramped up, and then when the pregnancy happened, it came back. So it sounds to me like it's an indication of what?
Yeah, that's, I'm overdoing it. The I'm not listening to it.
Yeah, that's good. You've got this guiding system to let you know when you're going too hard. Because you said it went away. So you've got this beautiful guiding system in your body to let you know when you're living out of alignment. So, it's something to be grateful for. It's a real gift, because when it goes away again, you'll be like, okay, here I am. I'm back in alignment. So then it's really just about surfing that wave, flowing and staying within in that sweet spot, in that Goldilocks zone. Yeah, cool. So what are the insights you're taking away from this conversation?
So, so the two keys I was looking for. So one is the part of that I'm trying too hard. So it's more about allowing and making things differently, to be able to connect more to the feminine side of me, being able to trust more and do less action but more allowing work. So that's one thing, to be able to flow, and yeah, just to experience that the challenges I'm facing, there are different ways of doing things. So what you're saying, like the mastery is, first you need to take massive action, but then when you come higher onto higher levels, it's more about the intention and allowing it to happen. Yeah, and just seeing the body as a way of indicating me if I'm in alignment or not. So listening to that pain, and yeah, connecting more with this effortless effort. So if it doesn't feel playful, then seeing, okay, what's another way of doing things, of having fun, connecting to that inner child.
Yeah, remember in the path, the first two elements are masculine. First, it's fire, right? First, we got to move. We got to face our fears. We need to get real about our suffering. We need to wake up. That's fire. And then we're in air, still masculine, little lighter now, but we're still, it's still about getting aware. It's still about learning. It's still about crunching. It's still about expanding our intellect. But then we switch to water. And there's no effort with water. Water's all about flow. Water's all about allowing. Water's all about adapting and responding. And then we get into earth, where we take those other three elements, fire, air, and water, and they manifest into earth. And earth is very slow. Earth doesn't, trees don't move fast. Water moves fast. Air moves fast. Fire moves fast. Earth doesn't move a lot of the times, but it does. But, a tree still grows. But if you watch the tree, you're going to think it's not even moving, because it just moves at its own pace. And it moves at its own pace, and it still gets done. If a tree rushes, it's going to die. If plants rush, it's not going to work. Water rushes, and it erodes rocks, but it doesn't rush with force. It rushes with allowing. It's still just flowing, and it erodes rock. Trees can grow through concrete, but they don't do it by rushing. They take their own time. They take their pace. And they're very feminine. So the last stages in the path are very feminine. And then when we get to that ether element, that's when we balance the masculine, the feminine. That's when we've reached mastery. The master has mastered all the elements, the feminine and the masculine. And they're able to utilize those elements in harmony with all together, so that they can create and manifest what they want. So for you, like you're a master, Sophie, in all these areas in your life. So now it's just time to be like a master. You don't have to work so hard. You create from a space of allowing. You don't create from a space of fire or air. At least you don't have to anymore. You create from a space of allowing. You create from a space of just, I know it's going to happen. Like that baby inside of you, it's happening. Your body, your autonomic nervous system's doing the work. You're just creating the environment. Likewise, if you want to manifest something, just create the environment. Ask yourself with this community, do I have an environment for 100 people right now? You know, am I utilizing what I already have? You've already got everything you need to make this baby. Likewise, you've already got everything you need to make this community. It's no work involved. You've got everything you need already. Yeah, cool. Okay, let's hold that thought. We'll keep. I'd love for you to share your blog and your video in the tribe, in the pilgrimage group when you're finished, because I'm sure someone in the group probably knows somebody that could benefit. What language? Spanish?
Yeah. Spanish.
Yeah, cool. Okay, sweet. I'll share it here too. I got some Costa Rican friends that might like it.
Okay, awesome.
Thank you.
Thank
Sophie.
you.
Yeah, my pleasure. Would anyone else like to play? It's like that awkward silence. Yeah, Thomas. Cool. Hey, Thomas, you can unmute yourself.
It's an awkward silence. I should have waited longer. Just
yeah, exactly. Cool. So what came up for you, Thomas? Let me check your intention again. Let me just find it. You said you want to fully step in your creative power, take full responsibility, and trust that you're the creator of your experiences and live a life of abundance to help and inspire others. So cool. I mean, it almost sounds like we've been coaching for a while. You know what to ask for. So yeah, tell me more.
No, I have a very, very intense mix to these days. I had, as you saw, I had did my homework and made this improvised kind of show on this mixed arts evening. This was nice and exciting. And since last week and today, I have also physical issues. My dentist did some things in this very sensitive area. So I have lots of pain since last week also. And this morning in the meditation, the completely opposite. This morning in my meditation, I was sitting an hour almost, and I had the first time really the feeling, I shared it in the pilgrimage group, because for me it was very special. I had the first time really the feeling that I can, the difference between I'm standing on the border and saying, okay, I want to see what's possible, but it's more like seeing if watching if something is happening, if I think about it. But today I had this feeling, first time I can step, or I just have to start. It's not that I have to wait for my, last time we had this talk in my coaching about, I have the feeling I have to wait for kind of the conductor gives me my moment to start. But today I had more the feeling like I have to start, and then like the net appears. I know we talked about this. I know I read about this, but this morning I had the first time really a kind of a holistic feeling that that's how it is. And my physical experience with my pain in my jaw and this is kicking me out of this all the time. So this is like in the morning after my meditation, really, there was no pain. It was gone most of the day, and in the afternoon it came back. When I finished work, when the surrounding was more like, yeah. So my feeling is like switching between what I see, what is real now, and this experience from the morning, what will be real because I created. But this is still not, I don't see it. So between my creational part and the reality I see now. So my body is reminding me very hard and very painful what is happening now. You know what? Is it understandable? I feel both. I feel the polarity very intense at the moment. And it makes it hard for me to stay in this feeling. As I wrote, I want to stay in my creation mode. I want to trust this process even if the pain is kicking me out. Because it's easy if everything is fine. It's easy, of course. If I'm in the flow, it's easy to trust this feeling. But
yeah, it sounds like you want to trust it even when there's pain.
Yeah.
So what a beautiful gift that pain is then, huh?
Oh, you're mean.
It's like somebody said to me the other day, I forget who it was. I don't know if it was you and I, but what were we talking about? It's something along the lines of like, I really want to trust I want to be able to trust, but sometimes I get afraid. So well, yeah, that's the point of the fear then. That's the gift that the fear provides, is the opportunity to trust, because without the fear, we wouldn't need trust. Fear is the gift that allows us to trust. Fear is the gift that allows us to have faith. It's like, I feel the same way. I just want to know. Can please just let me know it's going to work out. It's like, oh, that's how we develop faith, is not knowing. So when you say, I want to trust that I am the creator of my experiences, sometimes when I say, be careful what you wish for. I want to have trust. So what does the universe give me? The universe doesn't give me a shot of trust. The universe gives
like
me
a vaccination.
opportunities. Yeah. It's not, doesn't work that way. When I say I want to have faith or courage, the universe gives me challenges. When I say I want to feel abundant, the universe sometimes sends me financial challenges. When I say I want to be more forgiving, the universe sends me people to forgive. And it doesn't always come in the form that I think it's going to come in. Because likewise, when I go to the gym, if I want stronger muscles, I can take steroids and do very little. I mean, even then, it still doesn't really work. But really, at some point, I'm going to have to use my muscles. I'm going to have to tear the fibers. I'm going to have to, blood's going to fill those muscles from all those torn fibers, and then I'm going to get stronger. If you could see the inside of a muscle when it's growing, it looks like World War III. The muscles are all, the blood vessels are exploding, and fibers are tearing, and there's all of this destruction happening so that the muscle can rebuild into something stronger. Again, when I was talking to Sophie about the idea of being a master, the shaman that I work with, Angel Huena Luz, knows very well. When right after I got back from Peru in August of 2018, Angel came to Nova Scotia in June of 2019, and we were running a retreat together. And right before the retreat, my father had a medical issue came up, and I was really scared. He had to go to the hospital and stuff. And this is ayahuasca right here. And Angel grabbed this necklace and said, when you wear this, and when you identify as a shaman, faith is non-negotiable. You don't have a choice anymore. Faith is non-negotiable. And likewise, as a master coach or as a master martial artist or as a master meditation instructor, trust and faith they're not an option anymore. And not to say that you're not going to lose faith, of course, that's how we grow. Not to say that you're not going to question things, that you're not going to distrust sometimes. No, that's all part of the growth. It's just that your GPS is always going to align you back to faith again. It's always going to align you back to trust again.
Yeah.
Where do we go next?
Yeah, no. Now I'm busy. I think my mind is busy. I guess the experience I had this morning was quite clear. Maybe one of the most, or maybe the most clear that's input I got from my spiritual guidance, let's say. And yeah, the rest of the day was struggling then a bit, okay. But yeah, now I don't know what I should say. It's just as you mentioned in the beginning that you make me like a co-host. This adds, I have a constant feeling of a bit pressure on me. It's not, I'm not against it, but it's like I feel it, let's say.
Yeah. Sophie, have you ever had your sensei throw you in front of class and say, okay, you're teaching today, and you didn't expect to? Yeah. What's that a sign? Is that a sign that you're not doing good? No. It's like sometimes we have to answer the call even when we don't want to. And every great teacher knows when it's time to say, okay,
yeah,
there might be an opportunity for you to answer the call now. But so I appreciate you sharing with the pressure. That was my intention. because I thought,
Yeah.
who in this group could benefit from the pressure the most? And I thought, Thomas could benefit from it today.
Wonderful. Yeah, no, this was the creative part is what I wrote in my intention is that I'm still not 100% sure where to go with my artistic thing, because I did this on Friday and it was in a surrounding of comedians, a surrounding of clowns somehow. And I just went there and I didn't know what I will talk about it until I went on stage.
Yeah.
And I just started with my name. And this was the main topic. And from there on, I started to play with it and it was nice. But there's still kind of this pressure that that I have to produce an outcome in this surrounding that fits. Like people go there, they want to laugh, they want to be entertained, and this is kind of like maybe similar pressure like you added to me now, where I'm not know at the moment where to go. This is
Yeah. And when you stepped on stage, you didn't know where to go.
and I like this, to be honest.
Yeah.
I really like
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
This is unprepared, talking in front of hundreds of people. If they don't have, let's say, if you brief them before and say, no, there is coming a very funny guy and you will laugh a lot, this will kick my butt in a way that I won't be relaxed to say. But if they say, there is now Thomas coming, he will do something with you.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah. Yeah. So you said, I want to fully step into my creative power. Now, if for Sophie to step into her creative power as a mother who's creating a baby inside of her, how does she step into her creative power?
Just be
Ah.
and worship her feminine parts, maybe.
Yeah, when you stepped on that stage and you had nothing prepared, was that a masculine thing to do or a feminine thing to do? I mean, it took courage to get up there. That was definitely masculine. But when you were up there, what were you more in your feminine or more in your masculine?
If you would ask me, it was not. Yeah, now it's like it was like on the edge. I would say I was walking a very thin line and I fell a bit to the masculine and then it kicked me, but it's like balancing on a rope. It was more both of this.
Yeah. And that's mastery, balancing both. So to really step into our creative power, like Sophie has to eat, she has to take action to be a mother. It's not like she can do nothing, but there's a balance of allowing and taking action. And it's a very fine line. Because if she eats too much or she obsesses about the baby and she takes too much action, that will be damaging for the baby. If she doesn't do enough and she doesn't get the nutrients she needs and she doesn't get the rest that she needs and she doesn't do the exercises that she needs to do, that won't be enough of the feminine. So, there's a fine line of masculine and feminine that needs to happen. And likewise, to step into your creative power, those two words, creative and power, creative is a very masculine concept because we're creating, that's something from nothing. But the actual process of creation is very feminine. The whole universe was created in the nothingness, in the darkness. It was a manifestation of the light from the darkness, from the nothing. So everything starts from the feminine, in my opinion. Everything starts from nothing. And likewise, when you got up there and you had nothing to say, you were very much in the feminine in that moment because you were allowing your creativity to happen through you. You weren't preparing, you weren't going with an intention, you weren't going with an idea, you didn't do all this work beforehand. You went in and you allowed your creative power to move through you. Remember, we talked about the other day, a musician, a guitar player practices their whole life to be able to play guitar solos they don't remember how to play after they finish. And you know the techniques, the strings that you played, but sometimes you can't even repeat what you've done unless you hear a recording of it. That's allowing the creativity to move through us. We've put the work in by creating the structure so that the magic can happen on its own.
Yeah, I would say my masculine part in this whole is really to make the step on stage, as you said, to stay there and make the space for whatever that might arise. But this is maybe the most powerful part, is to stand there even nothing shows up.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is maybe the greatest fear if you expose yourself in front of people, that sorry, but nothing to tell you, and wait 7 minutes there.
Yeah. Do you think that could inspire people?
I think so.
Yeah. Yeah. See, that's when you reach mastery, when you can get up and do nothing and inspire people.
Yeah, I know. There was one, I don't know, she's from the former Yugoslavia area. I don't know which country. There's a very famous artist. She did a project in New York once where she was sitting in a museum and was just sitting on a table, and people came and she just looked into her eyes, as open as possible, as vulnerable as possible. And people started to smile, to laugh, to cry, because her artistic part was just to be as open as possible. It's a very, very inspiring documentary about this. Now I'm thinking about this, yeah.
Wasn't there recently a sculpture somebody created and it was literally nothing?
Yeah,
It's
it was
just-
a digital sculpture, no? It was something, someone sold a sculpture with the...
They sold it, but it was just a square on the road. And they said that there was a sculpture, but there was nothing actually there. And they sold it.
with instructions, I think, to post
they sold it
position.
for,
And
Was
so.
it?
for $20,000, I think they sold it. Like
Yeah.
nothingness. Yeah.
Yeah. Or Thomas, you and I spoke about that song. It was like 4 minutes and 20 seconds. It was literally just silence. And you said that people could get arrangements for the different instruments.
Yeah. For solo or orchestral part,
Yeah.
you can get
It's just silence.
Core with silence.
Yeah. That's what mastery looks like. Coaching is very similar. I mean, we're today's, we're kind of coaching today, but we're really just having conversations. But some of the deepest coaching that I've ever done with some of you, I'm not really doing a whole lot. I'm just listening from a different place than you're speaking from, though. And that's where the magic happens. I listen, and then I hear something, and then I share it with you. And that's how the magic happens. Very little work, very little efforting. I was at an event last weekend, and there was a sound healer and the organizer and a DJ, and we're all in these little groups, and we're talking about what's our greatest passion right now. And we all shared what we're working on, what our missions are. And this one guy, the guy that was doing the sound healing, we said, what's your greatest passion? He said, no more efforting. And that was it. No more efforting. Okay, how does that show up in your life? He's like, nope, I have nothing else to say. That's it. No more efforting. And it was very powerful for all of us. We said, how can we support you in that? He said, don't. Just leave me alone. There's no more efforting, just allowing, just living in flow. And of course, there is the dark side of flow, where we're not doing anything. And because we're not aware of our unconscious fears, and that's a different kind of darkness, because we're not actually flowing, because we're too restricted to flow. But when we reach a certain level, it's just allowing. There's no more efforting. So how to to trust that you're the creator of your experiences. If I was to give you an assignment to write down every example in your whole life of how you created your experiences, how long do you think it would take you to write that list?
Well, to be honest, I don't know, but with the most that I remember the most things, some days, 2-3, when I'm active, 2-3 days to.
I get it.
Oh, I'm co-host now.
Yeah. Yeah. Welcome, Joachim. Yeah, 2 or 3 days a minimum. And I mean,
Yeah.
it would actually never end.
Maybe.
The list would never, well, yeah, because every time you create something, you have to add it to the list.
Yeah.
What if when you say take full responsibility and trust that I am the creator of my experiences, how can you trust that you're the creator of your experiences?
Well, by taking action and see the outcome afterwards.
That's definitely, yeah, that's a way of seeing trust manifest in your life. How do you trust Jessica?
Well, this is kind of a decision.
Ah,
That's what you wanted.
I didn't know. I was just asking the question, man. I
Yeah,
didn't
yeah, of
want
course not.
Yeah, faith and trust are not, they're not something we strive to have. They're decisions that we make. And usually it takes challenging situations to give us the opportunity to make those decisions.
I like what you said before, that when we're in the right state, this is not negotiable.
Yeah.
I like this thought. And this kind of the feeling I had this morning, to be honest. This was like, the only thing it works out is when I do the step in trusting that the net will appear, or as we say, the parachute opens when you jump,
Yeah.
not when you wait.
So we learned that when you step into your creative power, it's really effortless. It's not something you have to do. It's just something that you be and allow. And to trust that you're the creator of your experiences is just a decision that you make. And it's a decision you make every time you start to lose that trust. You see, to trust, we have to be in a state of distrust. Otherwise, it's not necessary to trust. So the only way to have faith is to be, because we're either having faith or we're not having faith, or faith is not necessary. You know, like when you get up and put your pants on, you don't have, if you've done this 1,000 million times in your life, you don't have to trust that you're going to be able to stand up when you get out of bed. You just know. It's just the trust is so ingrained in your subconscious mind that you don't have to think about it. When you take a deep breath, you don't have to trust that you're going to be able to breathe. But if you're somebody who has serious asthma and has had an asthma attack before, you may have to actually develop trust that you're going to be able to breathe. If you're someone that's never driven a car before, you're going to have to trust that you can drive the car. But if you drive a car all the time, there's not a lot of trust necessary because it's already ingrained in your mind. So trust is a decision we make when distrust is present.
Makes sense. So, yeah.
Do we miss anything?
No, I don't think at the moment it's fine.
Okay. So what are the insights you're taking away from this conversation?
Well, that what you said in the beginning, that I asked for trust and I get obstacles and challenges. Still like it. Yeah, and that trust, mostly trust is a decision. I do it and step forward.
Yeah.
And I think what I felt during our talk now is also that going out and showing myself is not a little step forward. It's a step into the big unknown, but it's extremely more powerful as I know it from the past. I feel there is a big step just behind a very thin curtain, or just a very thin line. And I think I will do this. I will move forward.
I love that.
Thank you.
Cool. Thank you, Thomas. Would anyone else like to play? We still got time for one, maybe two more. Anthony, great. Yeah. You can unmute yourself. Hey, Anthony.
Hi.
I saw your intention. You said a clear understanding and vision of how my creations will help others to suffer less and create the life of their dreams. Can you tell me more about that in your own words?
Yeah, so I have a lot of writing, specifically like journaling, that is a lot of it is to be shared. I know it's to be shared, and whether it's in articles, blogs, books, workshops, or just conversations that happen to come up. I feel it like my ego is telling me to basically do something with it now. My chosen partner is telling me to do something with it now. And I really, at my core, I really feel more of a Taoist, and I really have been practicing surrendering to the flow, especially the last year and a half of my life, and converging with things that are meant for me, which come into my life. And I understand, you touched on, be careful of doing nothing and not being in flow, as opposed to, allowing while you're in flow. And that's really where the magic happens. So within the last couple of weeks, I had a few visitors come into town 2 weekends ago, and one of them then inspired me to get my first article and just get something in writing, and get create an account on medium.com and get something in black and white out into the public. and that was cathartic, and it was fun. And I'm feeling that that's a good way for me to start to get things out there, and also just to have, I guess, a confidence of stepping into a new unknown area. And there's just still a lot of like hesitation. I don't know what's holding me back from, I take my time, and I'll do other people's workshops, or I'll pick up a book, and I feel like I'm still a little attached to the learning aspect of it, as opposed to living and sharing all the things that I've learned. I don't need to talk about my traumas so much anymore, ones that I've resolved. And I just am at a point in my life where I've changed at my core, and I guess it's aligning with that, with kind of a repeated theme we've had today, learning how to align with that. And but it has, it's created some relationship issues too, where I'm becoming a new person, and I'm expected to be what I was previously, and maybe that's not feeling so authentic to me anymore. But I know the right path is the one I'm headed on, the one that's away from marketing products and marketing programs for liquor companies and things like that. That's not my passion. It's not, it's nice that it pays the bills, but it's not why I'm here. Not here to pay bills, to produce and consume things, material things. It's almost when difference in learning to meditating with my eyes closed and learning to be in a meditative state when they're open. It's like I know my truth when I'm but then when I step into the matrix, yeah, I'm still getting sucked back into it. So when I open my eyes, the distractions and the other things are still have some kind of appeal to me, whether it's some, it could be a number of different things that, but to really see that, to have that clear vision and sit with those feelings of helping others to a degree that I haven't been able to yet. It's because I haven't been able to share from the depths that I'm really drawn to share from. Yeah, I don't feel any more of that. Something that used to bother me really about, what other people felt about me and things that I said, and, not being the macho man that I was, that a lot of boys are raised to believe that that's what makes a man, is to, all of these machismo things. I think I feel I'm beyond that. I don't feel that's what's holding me back at this point. Thomas said something about, the parachute doesn't open until you jump. And, it's almost a matter of, I don't know how to push myself in the back. That's a difficult thing for me to do when I'm thrust into chaos or difficult situations. I shine. I'm able to see, maintain lucid perspective and that sort of thing. But to put myself into those situations, to just kind of step off voluntarily into the abyss has been a difficult thing for me to do.
If we were in a helicopter and you were about to go skydiving, and you were sitting in a helicopter and I put a blindfold on you, and I said, okay, now stand up and jump out of the airplane. Do you think you could do it?
Yeah, I could do that.
Yeah, I'm not going to guide you to the door.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna have the blindfold on from the time you're in the seat until you're out of the airplane. Do you think you'd be able to do that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, you could for sure. I mean, definitely.
Right.
Yeah. Which would be a more enjoyable jump, doing it without the blindfold or with it?
Yeah, definitely without.
Yeah. Sometimes. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's just the full sensory perception is part of enjoying life.
Yeah. That's it. And sometimes we think that we can't jump into the unknown, like, oh, I'm not able to get myself to jump. But in my experience, the issue is that usually we don't know where to step first. So the issue is less about our unwillingness to jump out of the airplane and more about, I don't really know how to get to the door.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really sure how to get to the place I need to jump. I'm not really sure where I need to jump. So when you say, I don't know, you said something about not, I don't know if you used the word being afraid, but not jumping into the abyss basically was the issue. So what is the abyss in this case? Like where do you think you need to jump that you're not jumping?
I guess it's sharing my thoughts and experiences, my realizations and understandings with people who I don't have personal relationships with.
Okay. In your intention, you said a clear understanding and vision of how my creations will help others suffer less and create the life of their dreams. In Kabbalah, the ancient Hebrew spiritual system, understanding is the feminine and wisdom is the masculine. And so wisdom comes from above and understanding comes from below. And what that means is understanding is the result of our experiences. And wisdom is usually the motivation or the insight that leads us to our experiences. So for example, maybe I have the insight to become a musician, but then the understanding of how to play music comes after I learn and practice. So when we want a clear understanding of how our creations are going to help others, that's sort of like putting the cart before the horse. Now, the vision, on the other hand, can happen before, then the understanding happens after. The vision is something I generate internally through my imagination. Now, it doesn't always turn out the way my imagination imagines it, but the vision gives me the direction and the understanding gives me the feedback. Does that make sense? So I guess my question is, what vision do you already have inside of you of how your creations will help others suffer less and create the life of their dreams? What's the...
Yeah, so my wife and I have been developing a space, which is for a couple on the call now, so a 20-acre space in the National Forest in northern Michigan. And the loft there is are making it into a sacred space. There's just things that have been rolling around in my head as far as different activities that we can do there, from guided meditations and breath work and plant medicines and all of these different modalities. And so my vision is to have my community visit there. It's a beautiful nature space where healing can happen without me or my activities there. But what I'm drawn to do is create and facilitate some of these things in part. So I have started to put pen to paper on this vision and shared wonderful story, desires to return and or just to come and be and meditate and connect with Mother Earth. So my so to take all of these concepts and things that have helped me and this space, in the space, anything that's holding me back, and for less, and really create, be the co-creators of their dream life, and how that's those exercises or stories or feelings or inspirations.
And I heard you say earlier about sharing your thoughts and realizations with your community too. So when you said earlier about hesitation and haven't been able to share from the depth, let's imagine that you had to take one very specific, very powerful action toward sharing your realizations and your thoughts from a place of depth, what's one powerful action you could take to achieve that?
Clear on what my dream life is, and writing that down and sharing it. And because none of us can do this ourselves, there might be, if I've got 20 things in this dream life that I want to do and I share it with people, they might start checking boxes off of that list by coming to help.
Yeah.
Or showing me a door that I can walk through where I can pick these things up like Easter eggs.
Yeah.
So, but nobody knows if I don't tell them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that sounds like a
Telepathy
great.
isn't working strong.
That's right. So writing out your dream life and then sharing that with your community and with everyone that you can.
Yeah. Yeah, because it doesn't look like anything that's you're going to find at a job fair.
Right. Right. And like you said, the opportunities might already be there in your community to create a lot of these dreams.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure they are. Just, keeping it to myself, which is not being in flow for sure.
So if you were to give yourself a homework assignment as a result of this conversation, what would your homework assignment be?
Yeah, to revisit this dream life, which I have draft of it, but to revisit that as of July 13th and update it and continue to update it and share it. And I think that at that point, that's really where, not only I'll start to see those things as they cross in front of my life, that I can intersect with them, but others will as well. They'll be subconsciously looking for those things to help me because, I know the people I care about, and, I can have faith that they care about me in the same way, even if they don't tell me.
Yeah. Yeah. What happens when we share our dreams and our intentions with a lot of other people?
Yeah, it gives them a chance to help. It makes them aware, right? So awareness begins, right?
Yeah.
So they start our journey from there.
Yeah, exactly. And then when we remember that there is no one else, what does it mean to share our vision with a bunch of other people?
Yeah, sharing it with myself, and really then I can sit with the truth that there's no disconnect between myself and these other ears that haven't heard this message yet.
Right. Right.
It's all working toward one wholeness.
Because your dreams are coming from a place of unity and oneness. Your dream, your desires, the word desire means from the Father, from the heavens. Your desires, your dreams are coming from an inspired place. And one thing that I had to accept about myself is that my dreams aren't unique. There are many other people who share my dream, and they can contribute to my dream in ways that I can't contribute. And they can contribute to my dreams in ways that I can contribute. And when I share my dreams with others, what I'm really doing is sharing, proving to myself that I actually believe in my dreams. And of course, we don't want to share our dreams with somebody who's going to squash our dreams or take the air, the wind out of our sails. But when we have a safe community that shares our intentions and shares our faith and feels inspired by our dreams, then we're increasing the momentum and the energetic frequency of the possibility of creating those dreams. When many people share our intentions, the energy is exponentially amplified. What kind of
Yeah,
time?
definitely.
Yeah. What kind of time frame do you need to write this dream life and share it with the community?
Yeah, a week.
Okay. So if I give you 7 days from today, and you can share it in the pilgrimage group as well, if that's cool with you.
Yeah, that's cool with me.
Yeah, I'm sure the rest of us would love to be inspired by your dreams too, because I'm sure that lots of your dreams are dreams that some of us share, and you having the courage to share them helps us be honest with ourselves about our own dreams that maybe we haven't shared with others.
Yeah, it works both ways.
Yeah, the easiest way to inspire people to dream is simply to dream. Because it takes courage to dream big. It really does, Anthony. It takes courage to dream bigger than the status quo, because not everyone has the courage to dream that big. So some people are going to be triggered by our dreams. Some people are going to think that it's not possible because they don't believe in themselves. So when we have the courage to lead by expressing what other people want nothing more than to express, but they don't have the courage to do it yet, that alone is how we help others suffer less and create the life of their dreams.
Yeah, I feel that. It's like you said, to exercise that muscle, you gotta use it.
Yeah.
To make it stronger.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's a good exercise to do that. I feel that. Yeah.
Time is an illusion. The life of your dream already exists right now. You don't have to wait to get there. You don't have to do anything more to get there. You're already there. It's just a matter of setting aside the things that aren't part of the dream and bringing in the things that are part of the dream. That's it. And that's a process. There's no rush, but you're already there.
Yeah. Yeah, something else you and I had worked on one of our calls was that, I definitely was conditioned to think that I needed to do A before B and C and D.
Mm-hmm.
I've been working a lot with that and understanding that it's not the case. We have a lot of great engineers here in Detroit and make a lot of good cars, but I don't need to think linear like they do. So
yeah, they're dealing with physics. We're dealing with quantum physics.
Right, exactly.
It's different. Yeah. Cool. So what are the insights you're taking away from this conversation?
Yeah, one of the big ones is that I'm just I don't know, just because I haven't made it a part of my process to ask for help so often is realizing how others can contribute to my dreams in ways that I'm unable to. And that's just a huge one, because I know the couple of portions of this with, and they just come out and, they're to, if I need a lieutenant, they'll be my lieutenant. So, not capturing these things. So, certainly asking for help, being transparent, and having faith that I can expose the depths of my soul, and I'll be okay. I'm gonna be better than okay.
Yeah. There's a whole world of people out there waiting to help you with your dreams.
Yeah.
And that goes for the rest of us too. There's a whole world of people just waiting because you know what it feels like to serve, Anthony. Doesn't it feel good to serve other people? Well, it's selfish of us not to put ourselves out there so that other people can't serve us. There are people that want to serve us. There are people that want to help us. There are people that want to contribute to our dreams. And by holding our dreams to ourselves, we're holding them back from being able to live their dreams. Just by, you know, how great does it feel to connect somebody with somebody? It becomes an amazing relationship. A really prosperous relationship is such a good feeling. And sometimes it's just a matter of sharing our dreams and giving other people the opportunity to connect the dots for us.
Yeah, if they're if others are doing the same thing I'm doing, I don't know that they need that I could serve them as well. So, you know, it's
Sure.
clear to see.
Yeah. Cool. So that's your homework. I look forward to seeing it in the group.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anthony. Okay, everyone. So that's the end of the call today. This is the alignment stage where we're really getting to the depths of living the truth that we've been discovering about ourselves, living the philosophies that we've been learning, and living the path of our higher calling, of our higher self. It takes courage to answer that call, and not everyone does it. So, you know, if we wait for someone else to do it and inspire us with their leadership, we might wait for a long time. It may never happen. Answering our own higher calling is something only we can do. No one else can do it for us. No one else can step in and play that role for us. We can only do it for ourselves. So, and just a reminder, everyone, remember your purging exercises. I know they're uncomfortable. I know they feel vulnerable. I know they're not enjoyable to do in some cases, especially sharing it with another person. But if I could distill everything in this program down and give you only one thing, that would be what I would give you. Those purging exercises are 99% of the core work of this program. More than the coaching, more than the theories, more than the philosophy, the purging exercises are how you're going to move light years ahead. So if you're experiencing suffering and you haven't done those exercises, that's great. That's a great opportunity. If you're experiencing suffering and you have done all those exercises, that's great too. Just keep doing them, keep purging, keep sharing, keep opening up. It's really magic. It works. It's powerful stuff, really powerful stuff. Just a reminder, again, I mentioned the Shamanic Warrior at the beginning of this call. I'm going to post it in the group anyway. You can all see about it. It's a group for men. I'm looking specifically for men. I've got 5 spots open in the beginning of the program, and I'm going to be opening more as we go. But I want to give the first 5 people a real deep experience. It includes one-on-one coaching with me, but then also powerful group work. It's not all coaching like this. It's going to be deeper exercises all around empowering us to trust our intuition, follow our own path, have a lot of faith in ourselves, and become the hero of our own story. Men, since I was a kid, we're always looking up to superheroes. We're always looking up to everyone else, but there's a hero inside of us that's waiting to come out. And that's what this program's about. It's about helping you find your own hero, follow your own path, trust your own intuition, trust your own higher guidance, and become the leaders that our world very obviously needs right now. So I'll post that in the group. And for the ladies in the group, if you know a man that could benefit, same thing, please feel free to pass it on to them. The way it works, they apply, I have a conversation. If they want to join, great. If they don't, that's fine too. So there's no high pressure sales, no obligations. I just want to make sure that's the right people in the group. So we've got one call after this. So now is the time to really start thinking, what do I want to get out of the rest of this program? How do I want what I've done in this program to reflect in the rest of my life? Am I getting closer to the intentions that I set at the beginning of the program? Have I already gotten to those intentions? And now is the time to dream bigger. And again, I just want to say it one more time, the purging exercise is so important. They're such valuable, important exercises. You're now getting to the end of the ritual. So the last chunk this week is the Yaheshua invocation, which is an invocation to your higher self, your higher energy, your higher consciousness, the manifestation of the universe. And then the final ritual is your self-initiation ceremony. So it's where you're going to take all of the rituals that you've learned and perform them to perform your own self-initiation. It's a very powerful process. My initiation ceremony was using plant medicines. I can't encourage you to use plant medicines, but I can tell you that ceremonies that I've done, plant medicines always kind of take it to the next level, but it's not necessary. You can also just do breath work and it will give you a similar experience. So thanks very much, everyone. You can all unmute yourself. We'll say goodnight for today, and I'll see you all in the next call. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank
Good night,
you.
guys.
Good
All
night,
right,
everyone.
thanks, everybody.
Have a
Bye.
great week.
Thanks, Ricky.
Time.
Thanks,
night.
everyone.
guys.
Thanks,
Good
Tony.
night.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Ricky.
everyone. See you.
Bye-bye.